Welcome to the Divine Connection podcast. I'm your host, Cristina Aroche, and together we are walking the path of discovering your true self and the alignment with your soul. Through these conversations, you will experience a deeper level of connection with yourself and the universe, and most importantly, you will trust in your spiritual journey ahead. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Divine Connection podcast. Today, we are talking all about Kundalini energy, and I'm so excited to dive into this because I feel like this topic has come up a lot recently in recent months. This question was submitted by someone from the community, and so that's why we are going to be diving into this today. But it's also been coming up in my private one-on-one sessions with clients. And I recently did a Kundalini activation for a client. And I just feel like there's something about this that wants to be shared and wants to be known and expressed. And so I'm really excited to dive into this today. And as I go through this, if you have any additional questions or just things that you want to share about your personal experience with Kundalini energy, I highly recommend that you come into the comments on YouTube and share about that. I would love to open up a conversation around this. And for those of you who are listening in from a podcast platform, you can always send me a DM as well and just share with me what your experience has been with Kundalini. But without further ado, let's dive in. The first thing that I want you to know about Kundalini energy, actually, no, I'm going to take that back. The very first thing that I want you to know, in case you don't know about Kundalini, or this is the first time that you're hearing about it, Kundalini energy is an energy that exists within all of us. And it's often depicted as this energy that sits at the base of our spine. And when Kundalini energy is activated, it starts to rise up. It has often also been compared to or kind of associated with the energy of a snake, or just kind of like having that, like almost like it's coiled up at the base of your spine. And then when it's time to rise, it just stretches out and rises up through, kind of like, think of it going up through your chakras from the root chakra all the way up to your crown chakra, and how it has this essence and this energy of elevation, of expansion, of helping you to rise up and be more elevated in terms of your frequency, in terms of your vibration, in terms of how you even stand. Like, imagine your posture getting a little bit more straight and a little bit more open, like your chest is open as that Kundalini is activated. The thing that I wanted to say at the beginning is that Kundalini energy is very much connected to divine feminine energy. And so if you are on a personal journey of exploring the divine feminine, activating that divine feminine essence within you, embodying it, just getting familiar with the divine feminine way, then Kundalini is going to be a huge part of that journey for you. When it comes to my personal journey with Kundalini, for me, I remember the activation connection to Kundalini like years ago, probably back in around 2017 is when I experienced that. And then over the years, as I've been working with the Herschel angels more and also getting into divine feminine energy way more, starting in about 2022, I've found that the Herschel angel Alexandra, she comes through a lot when it comes to Kundalini activation. There are other energies and angels who are associated with this, with the divine feminine, with Kundalini, like Archangel Haniel, for example, Archangel Jophiel. They also come through, but Alexandra, she is the one to call on if you are curious about this or want to explore this more. I do have a video on my YouTube channel that I will link in the show notes that talks more about that specific angel, Alexandra. And so if you want to learn more about her, then you can go check out that video. I won't go into that today, but the link is in the show notes if you want to learn more about the Herschel angels overall and Alexandra specifically. Now, when it comes to working with these divine feminine energies to help awaken your Kundalini, the first question that you might ask yourself is, well, why do I want to awaken my Kundalini? Like, what's it going to do for me? Or what's the point? Or why is it not awakened now? And what do I do to awaken it? And the first thing, it's just like anything when it comes to our spiritual journey and becoming more conscious, becoming more aware, is the fact that for a lot of us, we are born into society holding on to subconscious programming and not being fully awakened to our true self. And so, as a result of that, and because of that, the Kundalini energy is also dormant and is also kind of like not awakened. Just like if you think of your life before your spiritual awakening and after your spiritual awakening, how you became much more aware of you as a spiritual being, of angels, of energy, all those things. It's the same thing with the Kundalini, that when we are ready for it to awaken and when we are ready to activate it, that is when it will come alive. And so when we do awaken the Kundalini energy, essentially it connects us to creativity. It connects us to our soul's truth. It connects us to our purpose. You can think of it as a channel of energy that runs through, like I mentioned at the beginning, that goes from the base all the way up to the top of your head, and how it is essentially a spiritual channel. It allows you to be more in tune with the divine and allows you to be more in tune with that creative life force that desires to move through you and to be expressed through you. And when you look at the divine feminine is so connected to that as well. Divine feminine is associated with creativity, with being in tune, with allowing energy to flow through you, being surrendered to that process, to the creative process, not forcing, not planning, not being too logistical about all these things, but just really allowing yourself to be in the flow of how the divine desires to creatively express itself through you. And that is what Kundalini supports us with. It supports us with being inspired. It supports us with knowing how God and the divine wants to move through us. And if you believe in the fact that you are here for a specific purpose and a specific reason, and that reason is that the divine desires to express itself through you, and so whatever you feel called to bring to life, whatever you feel called to share with the world, that is part of the creative energy that wants to flow through you. And so when we activate our Kundalini, it essentially brings us up into a higher standard, in a way, into a higher level of integrity, where we can no longer really say that we're going to do something, but then don't actually do it. It kind of calls us forward into this bigger mission where you have this feeling that's like, I have to show up for this because I said yes to this. I said yes to my calling. I said yes to doing this work as a healer, as a light worker, as a whatever it is that you feel for yourself, but just knowing that you are here for a purpose. And so when you are in that space where you're like, you know what, I'm here for a reason. I know that I'm here to bring healing to the world. I know that I'm here to bring light to the world. I know that I'm here to support others in some specific way. And it's like you're saying yes to that calling, yes to that mission. Your Kundalini is a part of that. It's like a life force channel that moves through you and that allows you to stay in this flow and to stay inspired and to stay connected to that greater purpose. And so that's the thing that I feel that really drives me when it comes to showing up and when it comes to staying consistent. Because let me tell you, I don't always feel like showing up, and I don't always feel like making videos, and I don't always feel like being on and like channeling and doing all these things. But when I think about my greater purpose, my greater mission, and why I'm here and why I'm showing up and why I'm doing what I'm doing, it's like I can't not do it. And so to me, that is fueled a lot by this Kundalini energy, this channel to the life force and to the creative expression of the divine. And so I know that it's not me. It's like it helped me to get out of my own way so that I can fully show up in the way that God would have me show up. And so it's not about me. It's not about like, oh, like I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. It's like, oh no, there's a greater divine mission here. And the divine wants to express itself through me in this specific way. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up even when I don't feel like it, because like I said, trust me, I don't always feel like it. And I've heard from people before saying, how do you always do it? You always show up. You always have this energy. You always like just look like you're lit up and all that. And it's because when I do sit down and I'm here and I'm in this moment, I'm just like, okay, I'm showing up for the people. It's like something changes. And it's because there's this divine flow that moves through me because I allow myself to be that channel. I allow myself to bring through that creative expression in whatever way it needs to come through. And so the Kundalini activation really helps with that. It really supports with that. It allows this creative flow to move through me and to be a part of my work and a part of what I do. And it gets me out of the way, like I said, gets my ego out of the way, and just allows the divine to be a huge part of this process and what I do. And so when it comes to your personal journey, connecting with Kundalini, activating it for yourself, being in tune, being aligned with it, there's a couple things that I want you to know. One is that as you continue on your path, your spiritual awakening path, and stepping into your calling, into your purpose, you will notice that that will naturally begin to awaken within you. You'll start to feel this greater life force connection, this greater life force energy that moves through you, that carries you, especially during those times when you don't feel like it, like I mentioned, and that will support you to stay motivated and stay inspired and be consistent in how you show up. And also, you can have a more intentional experience of activating your Kundalini energy. So, for some people, it is something that naturally will be like, okay, now's the time to activate my Kundalini and to more intentionally bring it into that more expansive state, like I described, rather than it being kind of all coiled down at the base of your spine, extending it up to your crown and allowing it to be in the fully expressed, fully activated state so that you can then be in that full expression. So if you are someone who works with divine feminine energy or are exploring that, you will most likely naturally come across this or have a moment of activation. It could happen in your sleep, it could happen in meditation, it could just like come out of nowhere and just like, whoa, I think my Kundalini was just activated, like that kind of a thing. And like I said, sometimes it could be a more intentional process. And so that I've seen that happen several times where, I'm in a session with a client and then all of a sudden the guidance comes through around a Kundalini activation, or it's not even something that comes through when we're talking in the session, but then we do a healing. And then in the healing, the channeled energy that comes through is, oh, wait, we're doing a Kundalini activation right now. Okay, that's what's coming through for you. So it's very guided. It's a very supportive process. And whether or not it just kind of happens for you or you're more intentional about it, the thing that you need to know is that it's never something that's meant to be forced. It's something that you get to just lean into divine feminine energy for support. Like I said, I highly recommend that you call upon the angels that support that, like the Herschel Angel Alexandra, Archangel Haniel, Archangel Jophiel. The Divine Sophia is another beautiful energy that you can connect with. And so all of these divine energies are here to support you, and they will lead you and they will guide you. And just keeping in mind how with the divine feminine, it's never about forcing something, pushing something. It's about trusting in the natural process and trusting in the natural unfolding. And also you can have that intention, but then also letting go of expectations and knowing that the right time will always come and you will be guided to it. So that is what I have to say today about the Kundalini energy. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know if you've ever experienced a Kundalini activation, how it was for you, any additional questions that you have. You can post that in the comments below the YouTube video. If you're listening to me on the podcast platform, you can always send me a message and let me know what you think. what questions you have. Send me a DM on Instagram. And I would love to continue this conversation because I feel like this is something that is becoming more known, or I should say, coming into people's awarenesses more and more and more. And with the divine feminine awakening that's happening right now, I feel like this is an important topic to talk about. So let me know your questions. Let me know about your experiences. I cannot wait to hear from you. Otherwise, that is it for our episode today. As always, I am sending you so much love and angel blessings, and I will see you again soon. Bye. Thank you once again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And if you want to learn more about the Divine Connection podcast, you can go to CristinaAroche.com/podcast and learn about how you can be featured on the show.